Wrestling Podcast. And his name is John Cena.
The WrestleMania recap.
Oh, yeah.
That one was like, I was like,
Dude, I was on vacation.
Yeah.
I was fucking rested. I was primed. I watched 13 hours of wrestling in one day.
Yeah.
It was a lot of wrestling. Lucky you built up years of goodwill. Alright.
It is Friday, April 29th, 2016, and you're listening to On the Heels Wrestling Podcast. I'm Brittany.
I'm Kyle.
What?
hell was that?
I'm Kyle.
I'm Ray.
Don't try and change it. We got a good
What? We are three co-workers who enjoy all the pro wrestlings. Well, most of them anyway. And this podcast gives us a space to shoot on all aspects of our favorite pastime without the confused looks we get from the rest of the office.
I'm Kyle.
Gotta edit something. You're bragging about how much non-editing you're doing.
Yeah. I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna have so much editing to do. This podcast is all about giving you a consistent, bite-sized commentary on the world of wrestling, focused primarily on WWE's main roster and NXT, though we will occasionally touch on the indies and international scene.
Every week, we'll either recap the previous week's Raw, NXT, pay-per-view, takeover, what have you, or we'll hold a roundtable discussion on a particular topic. And this week, we're going to talk about one of my absolute favorite topics on this subject, the local underground wrestling organization known as 321 Battle.
Man, are
Oh
we gonna
my
have to out-fanboy each other here?
I think we might have to.
Ah, man, you've already had like 7 of your own episodes.
Mm-hmm. All right, so to give some context,
Yes.
so 321 Battle is an underground wrestling organization in Seattle with a bunch of wrestlers who are either local to Seattle and a bunch of guys that drive down from Canada. A couple guys come up from Portland. They hold shows at the Battle Palace in Capitol Hill, Southwick Union, that area, about every 2 weeks. And every time I've been to a show, it has been excellent.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it's right off my notes right there. I was saying, we talk a lot about like a match, maybe saving a WWE pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Like we'll say, oh, the pay-per-view is good. That match with, Cena Owens 2 is great. Or how like most of the time NXT is good. And then 321 just has the whole damn show be good.
Every single show.
So like when I started getting into watching them, then I'd go back and be like, why am I sitting through 3 hours of Raw?
Yeah.
Like, playing a Diablo to like pass the time.
Yeah.
When like the stuff at 321 is just money. Like I can't think of a bad match.
It's all about the storytelling, like in each match. Not every match is a 5-star wrestling match, and that's okay, because if you have a match with
Otis the Gimp.
Otis the Gimp, like I know I'm not going to get a Daniel Bryan style match, but he's going to fucking tell a story, and it's going to be
Dude, yeah.
hilarious.
It's
We
going to
can't
involve a
understate it
giant
enough.
dildo.
Yeah.
You can't understand enough. Like no bad matches in terms of entertainment. And we're like smart-ass wrestling fans who have our own podcast who complain about almost everything. And
Yeah.
I'm saying we like all their things, so
Yeah, and
it's
it's
a
like
big deal.
every match is good, but there's still those standout matches. Like everything
Yeah,
that
oh,
Daniel
absolutely.
Makabe, like
Oh, man.
one of the best absolute wrestlers. And I
He's
think
awesome.
he is somehow in the best match every single show.
Yeah.
And the guy, like, either he goes through a table or somebody else goes through a table. And, I mean, he's like teen heartthrob. Like, everything he wears is pink. Like, everything about him is fantastic.
Yeah.
I love Daniel Makabe.
Then who's your favorite? You have a favorite?
Oh my God. Oh God. I would say Weekend Warrior.
Oh, my God.
Weekend
Weekend
Warrior's
Warrior.
great. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love the nods to like old Seattle stuff, and then just he's got sick ups for a guy that size.
Man,
It's
so
crazy.
Weekend.
It's very-
He always seems to go to the bathroom whenever he does a moonsault. By
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah. So just
And he doesn't, and they're awesome.
So just to paint a picture of Weekend Warrior looks like, when you talk about dad bod, like he's not in the best, I don't want to say shape in the world.
He is a shape.
Yeah, he is a shape. But goddamn,
He's
he
awesome.
performs maneuvers so precise.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he is incredible. He is my favorite wrestler at 321.
Part of it, too, is, like, he consistently always has his wife and kids there.
Yeah.
And I think it just kind of plays to his character a little bit. I
Yeah.
don't know if he does that on purpose or, like, his kids are just super excited. Because this is a very mature show. Like, they have a
Yeah.
lot of... I mean, we just talked about Otis the Gimp, so that's probably statement number one of, like,
Yep.
don't bring your kids to this. But, like,
Yeah.
his kids are there. And I think that's great for his character. Like, if you see his picture on Facebook, which occasionally pops up in my feed and stuff, it's like him and his wife and his kids, and they're posing, like, their standard, like, family portrait. Like, he just goes all in on the total, like, dad thing.
Yeah,
It's so
oh yeah,
great.
I love it.
He's pretty good. I think my favorite is Sarian.
Sari,
Oh,
oh
man,
my god.
Sarian is such a
that guy
good
just
heel.
cracks me up. I think a lot of it's too, since I'm not a local sports fan, I just love how he just gets that free heat from just like making fun
Yeah.
of Seattle
Yeah.
teams.
So the first time we started going, it was the end of the football season.
Yeah.
So the Seahawks were nearing the playoffs, and Sarian's this guy who would come out in whatever team T-shirt the Seahawks were playing that week.
Yeah,
Just like
it was
super
so
cheap
good.
heat, right? And the best part is this guy's Canadian, so like
Uh-huh.
he doesn't even give a shit about football.
Yeah.
He just likes making fun of Seattle.
Man.
So like the game they're playing with the Niners, he comes out in the 49ers outfit. Like
Yeah.
his buddy Steve West from the Hellfire Club comes out in like a Carolina Panthers jersey
Yeah.
when the
so
Panthers
good.
end up going to the Super
And
Bowl.
that guy
Like,
is awesome too.
oh my god! Like I'm so mad. I missed his first match with Makabe a couple weeks back.
Mhm.
It was just oh my god. Like I saw on their Instagram, it's like they've redefined indie wrestling, and the best part is like I know that's not hyperbole
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
amount of shows that I've seen and the amount of matches I've seen. Like totally 100% believe it.
And the people are super approachable too. I mean, you see him in the crowd. Like I was waiting to take a leak, and I was talking to Sarian about his match.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're
the
all
other
super
moments
nice
you see,
guys.
like I saw like Krakatoa's mom taking pictures and like having a proud mama moment, and that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I talked to a lot of members of the Siege, and it was really cool to just be like, dude, you had a great match. Like when you did this, it was awesome. And
Yeah.
There's
Like-
this one guy in the Siege. He wears his Snowblind Studios hoodie. I don't know what the deal with that is, but he is the best at mocking people and has the best a-hole clap. It's so good.
So, for some context, there's this character, Draven Lawless, who comes out and makes fun of Seattle. Like, Amazon came in, destroyed the culture, and he's got this group with him known as the Siege, who wear black from head to toe, and they have Guy Fawkes anonymous style masks.
Mhm.
Yep.
So there are all these guys that come out, and basically anytime Draven's in a match, the Siege comes in and interferes, and Draven ends up winning. So total heel move. And I happen to know a couple guys in the Siege, and it's great, because it's a great way to bring up the newbies,
Mhm.
where they have a chance to get out there. They
Take a
don't have
bump.
to actually, like, be a character because they have a mask. They take a bump a couple times, and it's
Mhm.
pretty great. There's this one guy in the Siege who to quote Kyle on this, like, his mask just smirks a tiny bit more.
Yeah, it does. And yeah, like more context to that, you say the newbies, so they also have a wrestling school attached
do.
to this.
They
And,
do.
Hey, if you want to go, first class is free.
Yes. So they actually hold classes and the shows at Evolve Fitness in Seattle, and it's great. Like, the arena's awesome.
Yep.
Super, super awesome.
Upgraded every show.
Yeah, no, it gets better and better.
Your donation money at play.
So
Yeah, so it's something to kind of base off that donation thing. So they don't charge money for the shows. It's all strictly donations right now. So they sell shitty beer, which is, their words.
Yeah.
Shitty beer, 2 for $5.
I drink it.
And I drink it too. I drink many of them. And they take donations. So donations go to the show and beer goes to the venue. So it's this kind of like really community feel
Yeah.
going on.
How, for those that obviously can't go to this show, like, how would you describe like the arena, the ring? Like, it's kind of like it's a
very
much
cozy.
small. Yeah,
It's like being on like a Street Fighter stage that's pro wrestling themed in a way. It's like
Yes.
that cozy and contained.
Yes.
And there's like the crowd on the outsides, and
Mhm.
it's you're just like right on top of things, but it's like really good. The ring is right up against the wall.
Yes.
So you're forming like sort of a square U
It's like a
around
C around the ring.
around the ring, and you're just right there. It's pretty
So
awesome.
I think one of my favorite things about the ring is as you're looking at it, there's a spot behind one of the ropes in the back where there's a concrete pillar and they've basically carved out a hole so that when they're running the ropes, they can bounce across it and not hit their backs against the concrete.
That's pretty
And it's so just like super low budget,
yeah.
but that itself has so much character to kind of describe what these guys are doing.
Yeah, and with the
where they're doing
donations, it's been really cool. Like, so I've been going since November.
Mhm.
So, not super long, but long enough to, like, see as they've gained popularity and, like, the donation money's increased. Like, when they bought a ring bell, we were cheering about that. And
Yeah.
then Cody's like, we got a ring bell, motherfuckers! And they're ringing the
They're
bell.
just ringing
and
the
it's like,
bell and
it's
everyone's
so great.
excited.
And then the next show, it's like, oh,
They got
upgrade-
lighting.
Yes,
Like,
upgraded the lights. So
they got
you
a
kinda-
new banner.
it
Like,
makes
they
you
keep
feel-
getting all these new things.
And it makes you feel like as part of it as, like, a fan, too.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like, hey, now we got lights. Now
Yeah,
we
it's
got
like,
this.
we're-
We got a merch booth.
Yeah, they got a merch booth. Oh,
Yeah.
and oh my god, I love that the merch booth was actually built into a storyline.
Yeah.
So they've recently reconfigured the arena so like they cut a hole in one of the walls so they can put the bar behind a wall and it doesn't take up a whole table so they could fit more space. Because at one point there was like 500 people coming to these
Yeah,
shows.
if you have like 200 people there, at
It's
least
pretty
comfortable.
tight.
Like, but it's not. It's tight, but it's not like unmanageable.
Right.
Whereas like when we had 500 people in that little arena,
rough.
like That was
It
sardines.
was rough.
Yeah.
It was really rough. So they're now at the point where they have to turn people away. This is how popular this is.
Yeah.
Like, I will frequently show up 40 minutes before doors open, and I'm not the first in line.
Yeah.
So they've recently retrofitted the inside. They cut a hole in one of the walls so they have the bar. And I had heard from someone that they were going to move the merch table to the lobby. And that show, I was there, and I'm like, the merch table's still where it's at. And then that show, someone went through the merch table.
Someone went
Broke.
through the solid steel
Solid steel!
merch table. We
Oh,
had to
thank
get
you.
that in there.
Thank you.
So,
All right.
one thing I did want to talk about, and I'm glad that Kyle brought this up, is when I first went to the shows, like, at this point, this is January, and it feels a lot more fully fleshed out, including the crowd.
Yes.
Now, so there's
Definitely some regulars.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so there's a couple of things
Yeah.
that are, like, obviously insider jokey kind of things. Like,
Yep.
one being, anytime someone says solid steel,
Solid steel!
you have to say solid steel.
And usually solid steel references are a
Solid
reference
steel.
to things that are not actually steel based.
Yeah, it's like he hit
a
those
table.
ropes made out of solid steel.
Solid steel.
Or
So-
the
yeah.
solid wood, solid steel pillar. So
Solid
like
steel.
they.
All right,
Oh.
let's for the sake of the rest of the podcast, we're gonna stop saying.
Saying solid steel.
Yeah, we'll just say
Can
solid
we-
steel.
yeah.
All right,
Right,
we're
it's not
done. We're
gonna
done.
But and then like the crowd. So there's 3 sections
Mhm.
for the crowd. There is the beautiful baby face section.
Mhm.
There is the solid steel section.
Solid steel section,
Yes.
which
and
is
then
where,
there is the heel section.
Yeah.
yes,
And like if you're in the baby face section, like you got to be fully behind.
you are a baby face by definition. You are rooting for the good guys. You are booing the bad guys.
Yeah, and like it feels like everybody's on point with that, and
Pretty
that's
much,
really
yeah, like especially if you're in the seated area.
yeah.
Sometimes because like overflow and seeing and stuff, like it's a little mixed.
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like it was funny the couple times where we had to stand in the heel section,
Yeah.
and then to see the people that I think were not there to root for the heels, they got scared and like went over to the
They
went
face
over to the
section.
face section.
Because those heel guys, they go hard in the paint.
They do.
Yep.
Like there are times where, like the first couple times, I wondered if they were part of the act. They were so into it, and
Yeah.
it sounds like just from talking to some people that did just are afforded a fair amount of leeway in their heel fan interaction.
Yeah,
I don't
man, they're just
So.
they're
It
just
works.
hardcore, man.
Whatever it is, it works, man.
Yeah.
When I first went, this whole show, like, it felt so well put together.
Yes.
And I think the thing I really like about 3-2-1 Battle is it knows exactly what it is.
Yes.
And it's, like, really easy to translate to the rest of the audience.
It's
We've had
a
so many
comic book
friends.
show that happens to have wrestling.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
had like so many friends that we've brought on, like onboarded,
Yeah.
and they've all enjoyed it, and they would all definitely not describe themselves as wrestling fans.
No, like
Right.
the majority of them are not wrestling
But
fans.
they-
Like we
they've all
bring
enjoyed
like co-workers and friends from school who have
Mhm.
like maybe watched wrestling once when they were like 12.
yeah.
And they'll go to the show and they're just like, holy shit, buying like 12 cans of Rainier and just like yelling solid steel every time it happens. And you just
Yeah.
immediately get involved in what's happening.
Yeah. It
It's
feels
super
good
good.
to get involved. Like,
it does.
Like, it's everything is very reinforced, and it's
Uh-huh.
like nothing is really negated.
Mhm.
And that's a really good feeling, especially when it comes to wrestling or improvisation. Like,
yeah,
everything just feels like, yeah, do it. Like, do it.
and
it
the
just.
passion like comes through. You know, you can see how much they care, and also they're real humans. There's only like 2 or 3 guys on the roster who like seem like they have a strict workout regimen. Everyone else kind of looks like normal
Mr.
people.
Fitness. Mr.
Mr. Fitness.
Yeah, yeah, and like a couple others.
So,
you know, and
so
and it's cool to see, right? It's not like when you watch, like John Cena looks like an action figure,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. But it's like these are real guys.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's more than just wrestling, right? It's the community coming together to support arts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like if you wanted to get kind of like a generic statement about
Yeah,
it, but
for
that's
sure.
really what it is.
Yeah.
We're all coming together. We all built this thing, the fan base, the wrestlers, everyone, and we're all proud of it, and we all like seeing it be successful.
Which is a great segue to the legislation, which
Oh,
is another
snap.
part of what they've done.
We kind of mentioned that 3-2-1 is sort of an underground thing, and a lot of people may not know. And I know this because I explained this situation many times to multiple coworkers. I think it's part of a reason why WWE doesn't come out to Seattle very often. But wrestling in Washington State is not actually legal. It is only if you have a lot of money, because you have to use that money to rent an ambulance and another EMT of some sort at your venue every single show.
And they have to be there the entire time.
show. So it's very, very cost prohibitive. So to say
Yeah.
it's illegal is kind of a stretch, but it's mostly like if you're running an independent wrestling promotion,
You can't do
you
it.
can't have a show in Washington State. And it basically started because a lot of politicians thought wrestling was the same as, like, MMA.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is bad. They don't wear pads or helmets or anything. We're just going to make it really, really bad for them. So literally the only person who can have a wrestling show in Washington State is Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
Like, a friend of mine described it perfectly. It's like, you need to care about this because let's say you're a fan of metal music, but you want to listen to bands other than Metallica. Well, Metallica is the only band that can actually have shows out here.
Yep.
Like, that's kind of what we're talking about a little bit.
Yep.
So the really cool thing, kind of how I heard about these guys initially, is a lot of the guys that are involved with 3-2-1 Battle are actually working with the Department of Licensing and various other politicians to get legislation through to allow these restrictions to pass, or to get around these restrictions in some way. So last legislative season, there was a bill, House Bill 2388, that basically said you can get around the EMT and ambulance curriculum as long as you have a wrestling school, which kind of works out because these guys that run the 3-2-1 Battle shows happen to have a wrestling school.
Yep.
So it's great because you're guaranteeing that people are getting proper training.
Yep.
You have a way for those people who are getting the training to perform and hone their craft, and it works out, and it keeps wrestling legal in Seattle,
Yep.
which would be awesome. Unfortunately, the bill kind of died on the floor because it just ran out of time in that legislative session, which is really dumb.
Yeah, it's really terrible.
It's super dumb that it's just like, oh, we ran out of time, so sorry, you're going to have to wait a year.
Yeah, and it's not by its own merit. It's just literally like,
Yeah.
it fell by the wayside. Which
Yeah.
We'll have to
sucks.
pick up support again when this session.
Yeah,
picks
when
up.
the bill comes back around, we'll definitely let our listeners know so that they can email their senators and whatnot. This is actually the first time I've actually really emailed my senators
Yep.
in any
Yeah.
way. Like,
That's
that's
awesome.
how passionate I am about this,
Yeah.
that I got involved with local politics. It was weird. And it was
Yeah.
super easy. Like, you just send them an email. It's great.
Yep.
So I want to hear Ray, because Ray has a little bit of a connection here.
Yeah, so
to the announcers.
Yeah,
right? 'Cause
so-
we're going through the list here. We've got things we want to talk about. We're touching through, but the announcers to me are like, the wrestlers are great. The announcers are super great too.
It's the bread and
And-
the butter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
Like,
help-
the bread is good, but the butter makes it so much better.
everyone I talk to when we talk about onboarding new fans, like the announcers really resonate with them.
Yes.
They help tie it together.
Yes.
yeah, so like the first time I went was back in late January, and I get to my seat, and first of all, they play this song, this 3, 2, 1, contact.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's this awesome song that kind of gets you ready, like
Uh-huh.
like everybody's kind of bouncing.
There's like some
And-
like 1970 kind of like wop 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 wop.
Yeah,
wop.
it's
like
awesome.
live in the background.
Just
You're like,
great
yeah,
feeling.
no, this is
And
great.
you're like, oh man, it's exciting. And then all of a sudden, like, they announced whoever the ring announcer is going to be.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, they were like, and your play-by-play guy. And they start playing Full House.
Oh my god!
And
That's pretty great.
I'm like dying.
And they're
it's-
not just playing Full House. Like all the fans who've been there a while are singing the lyrics to
Yes.
the song,
Yes.
including the acapella bits.
Yes. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I happen to now know all of the
The
lyrics
lyrics.
to
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Full
yeah.
House because that is Cody Whistler's
Yes.
entrance music.
So Cody Whistler comes out, and mind you, when he comes out the first time I see him, he's wearing like a sweater, like a Cosby
I remember
sweater.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Cosby
I'm like,
sweater,
this,
giant Seattle beard, like
Yeah.
total.
and I'm like,
Oh,
this
I'm
is
loving it.
perfect. Like,
This is exactly what you would expect.
and then all of a sudden it's like, all right, and your color commentary, and they start playing some metal music, and I'm like, yeah, this is awesome.
Yep.
This is great. And I
Murray
look, and
Grande.
they announce Murray Grande. And all of a sudden, I see a pretty good friend of mine, Murray, who comes out, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. Because Murray Grande, me and him were regulars at this karaoke spot called The Spectator. And I always saw him and his crew come to the bar, and Murray does crazy good like songs, like metal songs. He could do like he did the Oogie Boogie Man.
Oh,
oh
man.
man, he has this gravelly voice which makes for excellent commentary.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Great.
Like he does commentary for roller derby. He
He's
does
really
all.
involved with a lot of stuff.
He
And
has.
the two complement each other really well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do a great job. So
Yeah.
yeah, I saw Murray Grande. I'm like, this is perfect. And so yeah, I saw
And
him after the-
immediately you're just sold because of that guy being the announcer. You
Yeah.
know his work.
Oh yeah.
You've heard him on the microphone multiple times. And you're just like, I'm sold. Like,
Yeah.
this show's going to be amazing because they
Yeah.
clearly have the right people involved with it.
To truly like capture the essence, so you got that. We've talked about the arena,
Yeah.
the hometown feel, how it's approachable by everyone. The announcers are great. So the table's set, and now it's like to talk about the wrestlers, but like how they go about it. Like one of the most sort of 3-2-1 things I can think of, like from one of the first matches I went to, was Igor and Cole Crazy,
Oh my god.
Sith Lord and Sith Apprentice coming out.
Yes.
And there's this moment where, so a lot of times when Cole's in apprentice mode, right, he would do some stuff and then he'd try to basically insinuate he was using the Force, but maybe it wasn't working out.
Yeah.
And there's this one exchange where he's wrestling against his former partner, James Diesel, and he's trying to do the Force choke slam and he keeps like failing, and like the wrestler he's wrestling against is like lunging up with him but stopping short and not lifting off the ground, and then Igor gets up behind him but Cole can't see, and then they do the move together and he does the choke slam, and then he starts chanting, "I did it! I finally did it!
I did it all by myself!"
Everyone knows
As
he
his
didn't
like
do it by
senseis in the
himself.
back just like, yeah, whatever, dude.
And I'm laughing, I'm like, this is being performed expertly, and I turn around to look at friends with us who hadn't ever been any wrestling,
Yeah.
and they were just like loving it, losing their damn minds, and
Yep.
I was like, this is what I'm talking about. My wife went and stayed awake past 11 o'clock, skipped the Netflix and Cats, and stayed the whole time and loved it, and like, those two examples right there are like, holy crap.
Okay, so one of my favorite characters in the show is Eddie Van Clam.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Who is just, he comes out to
Capri Sun Kid.
Capri Sun Kid. I think he's gotten Capri Sun over. Like, it's, I really like Capri Sun again, guys.
Yeah.
I totally, like, I missed it so much. Anyway,
It
he
was
comes
pretty
out
great.
in his wrestling shorts basically only cover the front and the back.
Yeah.
It's like stitching up the sides.
He freakishly matched his skin tone.
Yes.
Like, I remember,
I'm
it
like-
took me the whole match to realize that was cloth. I was like, this is fucked up.
Is he
When's that loincloth going
Is
to
he
go?
held in? Like,
Yeah.
what happens if this breaks? Like, is this? I mean, this is already a mature show, but holy shit, guys!
Only glitter holds that
Yeah,
together.
so he comes out to Bon Jovi's "Living on a Prayer." It's
Oh, yeah.
absolutely fantastic. He's covered in glitter,
Mhm.
and one match he has with the one Ace Jack,
Mhm.
and they're just they're doing their thing. They're like, you know, running the circle, kind of around the ring, and then all of a sudden you hear, "Is this the real life?" And everyone just kind of like stops because it's like, why would you start playing Queen in the middle of a wrestling match, right?
Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yeah, so then both of them stop and they kind of look around and they're like, okay, whatever. And then they go back to it and sitcom worthy, right?
Yeah.
And then Bohemian Rhapsody starts kind of playing again, back from where it left off. It's like, is that you? They're pointing
Yeah.
at each other like, no, is that you? Like someone farted or something, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, open your eyes. And then from there, they just full on like wrestling opera.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
They're
so
beating
they
each
got
other
everything.
up to the tempo of the song.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the referee at this point has grabbed a wig.
He's grabbed
and
a wig.
headbanging
he's
behind
headbanging.
them while
But
they're
like,
punching
but
each
even
other.
on the words, like, let him go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he has him in an arm bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, he will not let you go. Let him go! And like the refs like
Yeah.
chanting like, let him go! Like, oh
Yeah.
my god, it was
And
so
like
good.
so the crowd's picking it up just as quick as they're putting it down, right?
Yeah.
So on the
Yeah.
face side, we're doing half the lyrics. The heel side's doing the
side's-
other half. It was fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's incredible.
Like, I had a video of it and I posted it on Facebook. I'm like, this is wrestling. And I had a lot of friends who don't watch wrestling go, there's no wrestling happening. I'm like, absolutely there is. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's hard to describe, but these are the moments that make wrestling awesome.
So here's the thing that it reminds me of. If you ever watched early ECW,
Yeah.
like ECW had a thing, and then, like they did it in one of their one night stands
Yeah.
where they do dance offs. Like in the middle of a match, something would happen. One of the like FBI or Public Enemy would just start like, "Yeah, I got you," and then start dancing. And then the other guy was like, "What?" and just start dancing. And then all of a sudden, there'd be a dance off going on in the middle of a match. And it was like really stupid and really funny.
Like that one Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was not focused on the wrestling, but just more on, we know we're men in tights.
We know it's fake.
We know it's fake. We know we're men in tights doing some ridiculous ass shit. Let's just make it more ridiculous.
Yeah.
And like, that to me is why I like 3-2-1 Battle so much,
Yes.
is because like,
They're extremely self-aware.
yeah. And
It's the ridiculousness too, like for me, the theatrics, and like people ask, why do you like wrestling, right? Because they, the stupid knee-jerk can thing we always hear is, it's fake, right? And you're
It's
like,
like,
eh,
yeah, I know.
But like, when it's so good at being fake and like the way that they lean into it, like that's the stuff. That's what's entertaining to me.
Yeah.
Like things that make me laugh are things that are generally ridiculous or absurd because I know they are, and that is funny to me, right?
Yeah.
And this show leans into that all the way.
yeah, 3-2-1 Battle is the Deadpool of wrestling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
That- perfect.
Thank you for simplifying it
Yeah.
for people who know comics books.
Yeah. I simplified it for the nerds.
Yes.
But yeah, I just feel like it is very self-aware, but
Uh-huh.
it's just so much fun. And this is not to disparage like the talent of the wrestling, because there's
Right.
a lot of great wrestling that's happening.
Yeah,
in 3 to 1.
independent of the crazy storylines, right? Like, the wrestling is very good.
And
like,
they pull off some super risky shit. Like that real estate post thing that's just
Oh my
inexplicably
God.
mounted in one of the concrete
well,
pillars
normally
that's
it's
like
like
12 feet high.
there's like a heavy bag that
Yeah.
hangs from it.
Yeah,
And-
that's what it's for. It's for like a really heavy punching bag, but they take that off for the show.
Yeah.
And I've seen many moves launched from the top
People
of that
climb
thing,
on top of it.
and
so,
it is ridiculous.
and then they jump off through a table.
There's not a lot
through
of
two
room there.
people on a table. There's not a lot of
People's
room.
like heads are touching the ceiling.
Right. Like, I have frequently seen wrestlers jump out of the ring and basically land in the crowd because
Yes.
there's not a lot of space. It's,
Yeah,
it's
there's
very
not.
intimate.
Yep.
It is. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of good high flyers there too, or people who force themselves to fly high, and it's still just as good.
Yeah.
You know, we kind of touched on just some of these wrestlers,
Yeah.
but I don't think this is gonna do it justice.
Oh,
Like,
no.
so
Yeah.
one of my favorite wrestlers is Big Cat.
Oh,
Scott
yeah.
Scott
Hansen.
Hansen.
Yeah, this is a guy that
He's one of
is
the leaders in crowd involvement.
yeah, and he's dressed in a cat suit.
He is
Yes.
he's a large man in a cat suit.
He's in a
Yes.
cat suit.
Like, let's be real. Like, that is what he is.
That
Like,
is his gimmick.
anytime he punches someone, it's called a poopy paw.
Yes.
He got
like,
poopy
At
paws on
one
him.
point, he got knocked over onto his back, and someone tried to attack his belly, and then he scratched them. Like,
Yeah.
he just full-on cat guy.
Yeah,
it's
that
crazy.
is his gimmick. Like,
And each wrestler goes with that gimmick all the way.
Yeah.
Like it's like people selling the people's elbow times a billion.
Yeah.
Like, those cat scratches do damage. Okay. You
Yeah.
you get the cat scratch
Like,
fever.
raking the eyes is so much worse, because this kitty's got claws.
Yeah, oh man.
Like another move of his is he puts the opponent on the turnbuckle back up and then gives them a full double poopy paw back scratch all the way down.
Yeah.
Like that is one of
yeah,
his
and they
moves.
oversell the shit out of it, which is amazing.
It's great.
Yes.
Yeah,
The crowd chanting and doing poopy paws at him in
yeah.
return.
Let's
Yes.
go, Big Cat. Meow, 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 meow. It's
People are
amazing.
mimicking paws at him. He gives paw fives like to the crowd as
Yeah.
he comes out to the ring. Like you touch paws.
His shirt is probably the #1 selling shirt of any wrestler there, because
Oh,
it
yeah,
looks
the
like the
shirts.
Bullet Club shirt, but then it just says Big Cat, and
Yeah,
it's got a cat face on it instead of like the skull.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
It's
Yeah.
really good. He's got like fur on his shoulders on his own personal Big Cat shirt.
Right, when he
as
comes
part
out
of
in like
his
the
outfit.
jeans and the
Yeah.
t-shirt,
Yeah,
he
like
still
his
has
street
fur.
Big
Still
Cat
has fur.
outfit
It's
is
so
pretty
good.
good.
and on top of everything else, he comes out to Ghostface Killer, which I'm just like,
You're done.
I can't even,
That's
I
it.
can't even
You're
explain it.
tapping out.
Can't even explain it.
He's tapping out. Mike
Yeah.
Chioda guy to tap.
Yep.
You give up,
Oh
Ray?
man.
You give
Do you
up?
wanna
I'm
quit?
not
Do
gonna
you wanna
tap.
quit?
You wanna quit?
No. I don't
Alright.
care what Little Nate says.
So I mentioned Makabe a while back, but I wanted to touch on one of my favorite Makabe moments. It was actually the first 3-2-1 show I went to, and it was the Halloween show, so they had a bunch of wrestlers like in costume, and Daniel Makabe is in this fatal 4-way match. He comes out and he has these trunks that basically are CM Punk trunks that are pink, and he wears a pink t-shirt. So he comes to the ring and is like teen heartthrob music, and then the second guy comes out, and I think it's actually Big Cat,
Mhm.
in a pink t-shirt and some pink trunks over his costume, in like coming out to Big Cat music, but dressed like Makabe, and it's like, haha, this is really funny. And then the third and fourth guy both did it as well, so they're both dressed up as Makabe. Makabe gets on the mic and he's like, ref, you need to do something, this is completely inappropriate. And the ref just stands there, rips off his breakaway pants, and has Makabe trunks underneath.
So good.
Like, so it's ridiculous, the setup for this match, right? And then the announcers the entire time carry it and say, Daniel Makabe has just given a German suplex to Daniel Makabe.
German
The
suplex.
German suplex, that's right.
suplex.
They kicked him in the
Yes.
Diok.
That's
right in the diak.
Oh my god. But it's just, it's that 110%
Yep.
every single show. It's
Yep.
like nothing is over the top ridiculous. Everything is even more ridiculous than you could possibly think it is.
Yeah. So let's go through some of the more of the guys. So Mr. Fitness
Mr.
Ah.
Fitness.
is pretty awesome.
Those dimples.
The
Okay,
dimples are just irresistible to the ladies.
So-
I've seen lots of female fans taking lots of pictures of Mr. Fitness.
So
all
who
aspects
is this
of Mr. Fitness.
Mr. Fitness? So he is a guy that comes out in green trunks and like a green
It's a neckerchief.
It's a handkerchief.
Neckerchief.
And yeah,
A
neckerchief.
very fancy one.
Well,
Yeah.
he's got a neckerchief on, and then he's got another one around his knee.
And the man has kayfabe tattooed on his stomach.
Oh my god! Like, I didn't notice it probably like the first 3 times I went to
I
the
remember
shows.
sitting there like, is that fucking
Is
says
that
kayfabe?
that's fucking kayfabe, man? Like, what the hell? So it's great. Like, and honestly, his name is Mr. Fitness because he's in shape.
He's
Yeah.
in great shape.
That's the hilarious part of this, because this is like guys who are wrestling in their free time not a lot of them are in shape. Mr. Fitness is definitely in
Yeah,
shape.
yeah.
He is on point with
He
his
don't
fitness.
skip no days.
No,
That's right.
he never skips leg day. He never skips arm day.
Not any of the
every
days.
day is fitness
yeah,
day.
He's
Yeah.
doing the Brazil butt lift. He's good to go.
There's also one of God. I keep saying one of my favorites.
Yeah, like
It's
they're
like
all
Kirby
amazing.
doesn't want to.
I don't want to commit.
Out, right?
I don't want to commit.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Can we just go for an hour and talk about everybody?
Yeah,
Like,
I love me some Coach.
Coach.
He looks like a high school football coach.
Yeah.
In the middle of a match, will talk the guy through the match, like very loudly, be like, "All right, time to give me a headlock. That ain't a headlock. This
Like,
is a
repositions
headlock."
them. Yeah,
So
like,
good.
definitely.
and that's his gimmick. His whole gimmick is like, he's like, "No, you're not ready to be a wrestler.
Yeah.
I still have to teach you. There's so much I have to give."
Well, and it's really funny because, like, in real life, he's actually one of the teachers for the
Yeah.
wrestling school.
Yeah.
So that, like, is
His
his...
actual
It's
like
his actual, like, real life
not
gimmick.
kayfabe, but actually not. But they're
It's
The whole
line.
kayfabe
It's
is
so
dead
good.
is the new
yeah.
kayfabe
Yeah, oh,
kind
yeah.
of a thing.
You
Yeah.
gotta give props to Draven.
Draven's
Oh,
really
man.
great.
Like the
Love me some
alpha
Draven.
heel, man. That
Oh,
guy.
man.
like, every
he
single
comes
promo.
out. He can handle the promo too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
he's...
he goes
he-
out there
and
and
he
he
good.
talks shit.
And
you
he can
know,
handle
knows the
hecklers
line.
because I've heckled the shit out of him,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he has handled it well.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the key is you got to have a good shit-eating grin if you're
Yeah.
gonna be a good heel.
Yep.
And yeah, he's got that.
Cole Crazy.
Cole
Cole
Crazy. Like I
Crazy.
said before, man, he's awesome.
I
He's
think when I
the
first
one
started watching, I was kind of, like, underrating Cole Crazy a little bit. Like, okay, yeah, he's this guy because he was involved with the whole
we
Force
were worried
gimmick.
he was leveraging the dark side too much.
Yeah, a little bit. But then as he started to kind of break out into his own character, like, he does ridiculous shit.
Oh yeah.
Like, every single show. Like, him and James Diesel with their
Yep.
super kicks.
Yeah.
Like, those guys are so great.
They're pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, James Diesel as
Yep.
well.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
Oh my
yeah,
god.
James Diesel.
Oh, dude, like, all of these guys are just fantastic. And then you've got, like, the side characters that show up. Like, you've got Rainbow Steel,
Rainbow Steel.
and you've got the Bird.
The bird.
the bird.
The
Bird's
Bird.
the word.
Bird is the word.
So describe to me this bird.
So
the birds and the bird's physique changes all the time. It's crazy.
so the bird is really like a luchador jobber, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the bird does change physique. Like, one day he's a very large guy, one day he's very skinny, and
Yeah.
one day he's black, and the next day he's white. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of
The
interesting.
bird is a wrestler of the people.
Yes, there's the bird has a singlet. The bird has a singlet that is blue, and then a mask that is blue. And on both the mask down the front of the face and on the front of the singlet is a giant middle finger.
Yep.
Yep.
And the bird's gimmick is that he comes out and he just flips everyone off.
Yep.
And it even happens in the middle of a match. Like, he'll get
Yep.
punched in the stomach, and then as he's keeling over, just middle fingers pop up.
Yeah. Yep.
It's just
And
it's so great.
And he comes out to the bird is the word.
Yes, it's and then there's Rainbow Steel,
Rainbow Steel is
which is just like a pony.
oh, yeah, he's
like,
basically
literally-
a metal
Yeah.
rainbow pony.
Yes,
Yeah, I don't know how
he's
else
like
to
best
describe
friends
his
with
gimmick.
Otis the Gimp.
Oh yes, Otis
He's got
again.
the Krakatoa Kiwanis pair.
Kiwanis Adonis.
Kiwanis is great.
Yes.
So
like,
giant dude is basically who he is. He's
Yeah.
he's
huge.
the human volcano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just so
There's a lot.
Referee Ron Cena.
Ron
Ron
Cena.
Cena.
Having a hard time-
Damn it,
having a
Ron
hard
Cena.
time keeping up
I
with the
swear to
action.
God, Ron Cena.
Like, so there's this referee that goes by Ron Cena, and every time he comes out, it's like, when with referee Ron Cena, and then
Yep.
you've got the fucking wrestling fans of the
And
crowd
we
like,
start chanting,
Ron Cena sucks! And you see him like crack a smile, like he knows.
Oh yeah.
He knows. Like this. It's just
I
so
fucking
funny.
yell at him so much throughout a match.
Like, Ron Cena, you suck. Pay attention.
Yeah, get on your
so
shit,
good.
Ron Cena.
Oh man, it's just everything about this show is incredible.
Yeah,
and I keep telling friends, like, even if you're not into wrestling, just go support local arts.
Yeah.
Support these guys who they're not like if they're making any money at all for the wrestlers, like, because they're doing a lot for the show.
Yeah.
Like, these guys aren't making a living off this. This is
No.
all clearly their site. Like, there's a whole group of guys that drives 4 hours from Vancouver
Yeah.
for these shows every 2
Yeah,
weeks.
the thing they'll say is they're walking through with the money buckets is like, some of these people are going to the hospital tonight for you. Pop up some dollars
Pop
here.
up some dollars for your
Yeah.
donations, people.
Yeah, man.
It's pretty good. I think one time I heard Ace Jack say something like, somebody, a big donator, put in and he said, I'm going to get solid food tonight.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So if you're in the Seattle area, whether or not you're a wrestling fan, whether or not your friends are wrestling fans, please tell them about 321 Battle. Like, these guys are amazing. They deserve your support. They work so hard, and every other week they put on incredible
It's
shows.
fucking awesome. Like,
So
I
just-
look
just
forward to
go.
it every time.
Just
Yeah,
go.
I can't-
It's so I cannot stress enough how good these shows are.
There's like literally never a bad one, which is pretty nuts if you think about it.
Yeah, and it's kind of like I'm dreading the next podcast because we're not going to be able to just talk about 3-2-1 battle again.
Yeah, we're
Like,
gonna
that's
have to
all I
again
wanna
try and talk about how one match salvaged a 3-hour WWE pay-per-view.
Yep.
All right. I think we should wrap it up then. I'm sad
Hey,
now.
listen, it's not a good show. It's not a great show. It's the show.
Oh, damn.
Oh.
Believe that.
Believe that.
Believe that.
Alright. Oh, I'm done.
You're welcome. That's gonna make people think I like Reigns.
They listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
That guy. All right,
Yeah.
that'll about wrap it up for this week. If you like the podcast, you can find us on Twitter at OnTheHeelsWP and on Facebook.com/OnTheHeelsWP. We're also on iTunes,
Yay.
where you can download past episodes or subscribe to future episodes.
So hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment on the iTunes store. Give us a 5-star rating.
5 stars.
5 stars.
Solid steel.
Solid steel.
Solid
5-star
still.
rating.
So that more people can find us and tell your wrestling buddies. So that they can also hear us rant about different shit, including Roman Reigns. Believe that. Feel
Oh.
free to tweet or message us for random wrestling stuff, and we'll totally respond. Also, one thing I want to bring up, we got like one guy that's always down for listening to us, and I want to call it Jesse, who's constantly commenting on YouTube.
Yeah, buddy.
Man, he has
Seriously.
some hilarious comments. So,
That's so good.
thanks, Jesse,
Thanks.
for
Thanks,
sticking
Jesse.
by us.
Also, shout out to our Dutch Netherlands.
Yeah, the Netherlands.
We're getting a lot of
What?
listeners back. All right. So thanks for listening to On the Heels Wrestling Podcast. Tune in to our next episode where we'll talk about the death of kayfabe. And then, after all those questions, we'll ask ourselves the eternal question. Is Roman Reigns actually just the guy?
I don't know.
Oh, man.
Is he a bad guy?
I mean,
Is
we
he a-
know
is
he's
he a
the guy with the biggest pecs, right? That's
Yeah.
what the song says.
Is he a tall guy? Is
The
he
guy
a
with the
small
wettest
guy?
hair.
Is he Five Guys? Is he Car Guys? I don't know what kind of guy he is. I'm a little conflicted.
I think he's the guy.
I don't know if he's the guy.
He's like tater tot.
On the Heels Wrestling Podcast.